What is up, guys? I was kind of laying down, but I don't know whether to stand up or not.
I think we should just lay down.
Really?
Because this is the love couch.
That's true.
According to you guys.
How do we start these things off? What is up, guys? I'm the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gershwan!
And today we're back to answer more questions from you guys in another installment of for the greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, just comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And we're still flopping around between outside, inside, the love couch, and just a bunch of other places because, you know, that's how we work.
Right, because if we go outside, then you got the birds and the bees.
Right.
But then when we would come inside,
we are the birds and the bees.
Mm-hmm.
Pride Month. This is a question from Simon Teese. Seriously, how long has the Emperor got till he dies? A week, a month, a decade? So far it's been 10,000 years. What is that? That's a decade, right?
A decade is 10 years.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like 4 score and what?
That's a score. That's something different.
A fortnight.
So far, yeah, it has been 10,000 years. And how long does he have to live? Like, based on what we have read from the lore and based on the information that we get from, like, periodic, like, GW stuff, he's there for as long as he cares. Like, he wants to. Not that he can, like, regenerate and, like, get up or whatever.
Yeah.
But he is a perpetual, so he has the ability to just completely die.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
and come back to life.
Yeah.
Because everybody has that ability.
Yeah. But if he comes back to life, the process of death and birth, that's a big mystery.
Mm-hmm. And
that might be a time of, like, great catastrophe for the Imperium if he does die.
Right.
So there is no solid answer. And honestly, it really depends on how much trouble GW gets into as far as, like, needing that extra cash to bring in the Emperor.
Yeah. And I don't see that happening because I feel like they would have to bring all the Primarchs back and then the Emperor.
My question to you guys is, would you rather see the Primarchs come back first or the Emperor? And the reason I ask is because this week I was thinking about how if you bring back Jagatai Khan and you're a White Scars player, that's awesome for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to buy the model or you're going to buy more White Scars stuff. But if you're an Imperial Fist player, you're a Raven Guard player, and Jagatai Khan comes back, cool, bro. Like, it doesn't really matter because that's not your Primarch.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I play Imperial Fist, I didn't buy Gilliman. So I guess, would it be better to bring back the Emperor who can fit into pretty much any Imperial army? Or would it be better to bring back a Primarch?
That is a good idea, a good thought to throw out there. But I feel like with Gilliman, he fits the Lord of War, so he can command any army.
Right.
So I think any other Primarch can do the same. But it would be weird if you have, like, Jagatai Khan and he's leading, like, Space Wolves or something like that.
Yeah. But the point is, like, there's no, like, psychological trigger for you to purchase the model. Whereas I feel like with the Emperor, yeah, it is, like, cool. Like, I want to own the Emperor.
Right.
Just like you wouldn't really buy... well, that's a little different. Never mind. Because I was going to say, like, you wouldn't buy Kayla Menchikane or Yvraine. No, what's the god, the new god? Iniad. You wouldn't buy them if you're playing Harlequins or if you're playing, like, Jujukari.
You could. I mean,
you could
always soup them together.
But the whole, like, concept of just like, no, I want to be pure. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's more purists within the game than not.
Yeah, and you see that in a lot of different like games themselves. Like for MTG, for me, it was never like, oh, I need to get all the best cards. It was like more, I'm playing Vampire Tribe today, or I'm playing Merfolk today.
Yeah.
But if you want to do real good and be in the meta, that's like, yeah, you kind of do want to get these awesome cards that may not fit into, like, the Merfolks or whatever, but they're really good. So that's also the same thing with 40K, where it's like, you know these Primarchs are going to be good, so it's like you should kind of want to play them.
Right. But
thematically, it's a little off.
Yeah. And I think it all goes back to the lore, and maybe because we are lore enthusiasts, so we want to keep it pure. Because technically we could just go on Bound and play, like, you know, different factions and put them together and take that penalty for the...
and the no command point thing.
Right, yeah. But we don't because we were, like, purists. But I wonder if you're a new player to 40K, you're not too wrapped up in the lore wouldn't you want to? Because remember when we first started playing 40K, like this was when, like back in fourth or fifth edition.
Yeah.
My concept was like, fuck the real game. Like, let's just collect different units from different armies and just create our own game.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we did.
Yeah. We tried.
A checkers style game of 40K.
Yeah.
Because it was always so daunting trying. Like, you see the rule book and it's like super thick, and it's like, how does anybody even play the game and know all the rules?
And we were super young.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we saw all the numbers and we were like, and I clearly remember one time I went into a GW store and then there was a dude saying like, well, technically the way the atmosphere is working on this planet, you couldn't do that. So I instantly thought like, there's an atmosphere mechanic in this game? No way. Like, I'm not going to try to learn that. I don't know what they were to this day. I don't know why they were saying that.
Maybe like they were making their own like homebrew, like, oh, it's raining acid rain.
Yeah.
Or -1 toughness or something.
Which that was a thing, right? It was like
yeah, there were some like mission thingies.
Yeah. Back in the day. But yeah, that's when the Emperor's coming back. Next question.
When is it exactly?
Whenever GW decides.
Yeah, it's GW's wallet's gonna tell you when.
Yeah.
This one's by Dragon Punch 903. Does every race have a Primarch level hero amongst their ranks?
For the most part, yeah.
Silent King for the Necrons.
That's cool. Magork Thraka
for the orcs.
And then obviously Gilliman for the Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also say like Belisarius Caw for the Skitarii.
Right.
The Saint Celestine for the sisters.
Well, you got the new High Lord right now, so that'll be Morin Val or whatever her name is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the new High Lord character for Sisters of Battle that's coming out.
Yeah, and then for the Tyranids, you just have. You don't really have a named character. You could say like Old One Eye, but he's not to that level.
With the Tau, you don't really have a singular like beast mode Tau dude. It's like you have Shadow Sun, Farsight, Anshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not anywhere near Primarch level. Like they struggle to beat just captains. So
far the Tyranids and the Tau don't have that. And then the Eldar, I don't know how powerful the Eldar we don't have any what are they called? Something warriors?
Phoenix Warriors.
We don't have any, right?
Like you can play them, but I think they're just as strong as like a captain or a chapter master.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we can't say the Avatar of Cain. That thing sucks.
Yeah.
Both lore, the model sucks, and then on the tabletop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They just need a revamp. Like, come on, GW. How about the Eldar? They're the oldest race. They should have stuff going for them.
Something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we forgetting any faction?
I think we've covered the main ones at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that goes to answer it. No, not every faction has a Primarch level hero.
Right.
Just the ones that GW likes.
This question comes from All the Way to Z2. How many of the Warhammer 40K novels have you guys read? Eisenhorn Xenos. I've read 2 of the Horus Heresy ones, so at the very beginning. And that's it, I think, that I can remember. Oh, and The Beast Rises.
There's 3 books to that, right?
To The Beast Rises? No, I think there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, I've only read one. I forget what it's called because it's been a while. It's the one where like Sanguinius and Horus team up, and like I don't want to spoil it, but ay chingadazos ahí. If you're Spanish, you kind of got spoiled. But yeah, it's funny because like in those books, you see all these different alien races that just like have such a cool concept of like how they have like their own conquered populations of humanity, and like the Imperium gets sent out to like liberate them, and it's like, oh, why don't we get more lore on these like Xeno races, or these things could be a really badass like new faction, but they never get fleshed out.
They never do.
Yeah, I wonder how much liberty like authors and GW have when they're writing novels. Because I recently did the Grimdark battles between Trajan Valorous and Caldor Drago, and it's like you see all these crazy feats that Matt Ward was able to give Drago, and GW's like, yeah, we're okay with him doing all this. And then you go to like the Horus Heresy novels, and it's more toned. It's more like, it makes more sense in the universe. Like you have the Custodes like almost being able to beat a Primarch in like a duel, but then you have a freaking World Eater that can punch a hole through their chests.
Yeah.
So it's like the power scaling's kind of all over the place. And it's interesting because, like, obviously these authors want to write awesome books, awesome novels. So they have to really make, like, their heroes shine. But then those same characters in a different book by a different author are like, what happened? Like, shouldn't they be these awesome level warriors?
Yeah. And I do think that GW writers do have a lot of creative freedoms. And it's just whatever they put on themselves as far as restrictions. Because I do feel like there is a lot of contradictions too between authors.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you like look up certain characters, like if you look at it, it's like this happened at this time, but then like simultaneously in another star system he was operating here or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they do have I think a lot of creative freedom.
Yeah. Which is good and bad. Sometimes they use it for the good, like how I was saying, Drago, when he stomped Mortarion, like everybody was like, "Oh, this is an ass pull, Mary Sue, Drago," like, "Oh, I hate Matt Ward." Yeah. But then in the audiobook, Mortarion's Heart, like when you actually see it retold as like in a different light, okay, it's like he didn't just beat him like nothing. Like he was struggling, he was losing, and the only way he overcame a freaking demon Primarch is because he was told Mortarion's true name.
Yeah.
And it's like, without that, obviously a freaking Space Marine would never be able to beat a demon Primarch.
Right. Next question.
This one's by James Murphy. Assuming neither race dies out, who would reach Necron levels of technology first, the Tau or the Eldar?
The Tau, because the Tau don't have warp powers, whereas like the Eldar do have warp powers, so they rely on that. Mm-hmm. They're on two completely different tangents.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Yeah, the Eldar will never reach Necron style physics bending technology purely based on science because they don't have to. They have the warp powers that they all are all psychically powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like saying, who will reach like the Industrial Revolution first? Like this type of like, I don't know, primitive ape that has tools, and this one that doesn't have tools, but it's more brute force.
Right.
So like there's two avenues you could explore.
Mm-hmm. Next question comes from PB Unit. If a perpetual gets a tattoo, does it just heal over time? Can they get any permanent marks on their bodies? Yeah, they can. Perpetuals doesn't really mean that like you have healing powers. A perpetual just means that if you die, you come back. Mm-hmm. Or you can't die. So you can still mark your body. You just can't kill yourself. Like the Hulk.
Yeah.
The Hulk probably has scars and stuff. Has scars, but yeah.
Isn't that the name of his son?
Scar, yeah.
Bunny Hop asks, I know Gersh loves it, but what are your thoughts on the new orc reveals? Toughness 5 boys for the win!
I don't know if we know point values yet.
No, but I'm pretty sure they're going to go up. There's no way they could stay the same point value and have that toughness.
Because if I'm not mistaken, it's only 6 points per orc right now. If it goes up to 10, that means that you, like, right now, I think a 30-man squad is probably around, like, 200 points. If that bumps up to 300, then you're probably going to bring a lot less boys. But what it's going to do is it's going to shift to more close combat orcs instead of shooty orcs. Because if you do have a -1, like let's say a squad of 30 boys is going up up against a squad of 10 Space Marines, with the boys having a toughness 5, and then them having a -1 on the Space Marine, that's devastating for the Space Marines, because that's 30 times. It's base 2 plus 1 for having the close combat weapon. So you're doing 3 times 30.
That's 90 attacks.
At -1 AP, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s still. That's devastating. So
it's like, I get what they were trying to do with, like, in the lore, orcs are supposed to be tough. Like, what is it? Like, an orc can keep fighting even if it gets, like, blown in half, or, like, loses a limb and stuff like that. So it makes sense. But I don't know. I always thought they were going to get a better save instead of that toughness bump. But it's interesting.
I like that they didn't get a save just because there is a sense, like if you're an orc player, there you have to have a sense of like my boys are gonna die, like that's a given. So don't feel bad that you're throwing in a squad of 30 against a unit and the unit kills the 30 boys. That's their job. You got the wounds off of that unit or whatever. Yeah, and now I'm thinking about it, and like if you choose the golf clan rule, which I think it gives you a +1 to maybe your attack, so you're getting more attacks, and then you have God School, which lets you reroll ones. It's bad. Like orc boy mobs are gonna be tough. The green tide is going to destroy things.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could see more people playing just bodies and bodies of orcs.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I remember fighting against that. It was not fun. I mean, it was fun when you see like the death pile.
Yeah. Next question.
This one's by James Kiltz. Would the Minotaurs be active in current lore with what Robo-Booty Girlyman did to the High Lords? Yeah, they're still going to be used. Just because Gilliman gave the High Lords basically a slap on the wrist, but it's coming from a really heavy, strong hand. Like, they're still going to keep doing what they're doing. Like, they're not going to stop just because the Primarch told them, hey. I mean, I'm pretty sure the freaking Emperor could tell them to stop and they wouldn't. Because greed and money corrupts.
Yeah, and it's all about being preoccupied. I feel like the High Lords of Terror, or Gilliman is preoccupied right now with his, what he's trying to do with getting rid of the, what is it called? The Great Rift.
Yeah, the Cicatrix Maledictum.
So then the High Lords are free to, like, do whatever they want behind his back. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he's all the way in this sector of the galaxy. I'm cool over here.
Yep. I'm going to pee on the plants.
This one is by The Big One. If the Emperor wakes up from the Golden Throne, or is reborn as a man, whose cheeks is he going to clap first and why?
If he's reborn as a man, wouldn't he be reborn as a man regardless?
Yeah, but some people see the Emperor as more than just a man.
Oh, just like a regular old man? Whoever he wants, he's the Emperor.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Sisters of Silence all over him. I'm pretty sure there's some custodies there too. I mean,
yeah. Why not?
Yeah, but after 10,000 years, that man must be shooting out chalk.
Yeah.
Chalk dust, that is.
Unless his what is it called? His
genes
is tough. And what if every time he sleeps with somebody, he makes that person superhuman? Yeah. Then we get female space marines. This question comes from Invictus. Which Space Marine chapter has committed the least amount of war crimes? Which has committed the most as well? So, I mean, that's subjective, I guess, because a war crime has to mean, like, it means that there has to be an agreement as to what is a war crime, and I don't think they have that in the Imperium, especially when you're going up against Xenos that are just trying to murder you. It's like, no, just destroy them as best you can. It doesn't matter if you have to kill, like, baby Xenos. But I would assume for humanity, like, war crimes against their own people, or like friendly fire, probably like salamanders. Yeah. Because they're always trying to protect.
Right.
And then the worst, space wolves. Because even when they're not at war, they're still like treating their tribes like shit. Letting them get eaten by a kraken.
Well, because they want to pick out the best fighter, and obviously survival of the fittest is a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if you were going to get eaten by that kraken, it's like you don't deserve to be a space marine.
You can't crack with us. So,
Eric Matos Viegas. What is your opinion on Warhammer 40K and on other medias? For me, the novels and the codices are the base part of the 40K, but what about electronic games, movies, RPGs, comics? When official and canon, do they complicate the lore, add to it, cause grim darkness and chaos on the fan base as intended by the gods? And he says, P.S. I'm an RPG game master, currently running a 40K game based on fan theory that you kindly answered and commented about.
Oh, sweet.
Thanks.
That feels awesome to hear. I think I'm this in the same boat. Whereas, like, I feel like the novel and the codex. Well, the codex comes first, and then the novels, because the novels usually touch on individuals as opposed to like the Imperium as a whole. And then like the Bloodraven stuff and like the Dawn of War series, I feel like that's like Same thing with Space Marine, because wasn't Space Marines, spoiler alert, but weren't the orcs chaos? Like it turned out that they were like chaos demons or something like that.
They weren't chaos demons, but they helped chaos. Like they were fighting alongside like Khorne berserkers and stuff like that, because they were secretly working with the Inquisitor, which turned out to be a chaos devotee, which he became a demon prince.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they were helping the Inquisitor to get like a bigger fight or something like that. The Inquisitor double crossed them, and then everybody got into a fight.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
But yeah, like things like that, like I feel like that's just like secondary to the codex.
Mm-hmm. It's fun, it's cool, it expands the universe, but yeah, it does make things a little bit more complicated and convoluted.
Yeah.
Because GW likes doing that, where it's like, hey, we can put out a codex and have all the rules and everything here. But wait, we're going to have a chapter-approved book coming out. But that chapter-approved book won't affect the codices that are coming out right after.
Yeah.
So it's like, why? Just make it simpler.
What is cool about that, though, is that it kind of solidifies certain things because lore gets repeated over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. If you pick up the most current codex of whatever chapter you want, and then you go to a 4th or 5th edition codex, the stories are going to be the same. The writing is going to be the same. So it like solidifies certain stories, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, but then other stories get completely taken out or ignored.
Yeah.
Like WAAAGH was a thing, then there was a codex without him even being mentioned, then he's back.
Yeah, but because he was in that previous one, I feel like, no, he exists in the universe right now, they're just not talking about him.
But it's like, why not just put a little sentence or two mentioning him?
I think they do. They put it in the, you know how like each codex has a timeline?
It's in there?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, gracias y adiós. Este es Sound Alchemist con
Gershwan.
We are out of here.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.